Next, 32nd question in continuation to the yesterday's topic, neural control and coordination, release of neurotransmitter substance at presynaptic membrane is mediated by sodium plus ions, calcium plus ions, potassium plus ions, and magnesium ions. At the presynaptic membrane means level, so it is through the calcium plus ions it takes place. Coming on to the 33rd question. So 33rd question, opening that connects the ventricle of the brain to the outside is foramen of Monroe, foramen magnidae, foramen ovale, and foramen magnum. Opening that connects the fourth ventricle of the brain to the outside is foramen magnidae. Here option B is the answer, but it is not there. That is foramen magnidae. So you remain oval means the shape is oval. Magnum is these are all the openings which will be connecting the one ventricle to the other ventricle. Here opening that connects the fourth ventricle of the brain to the outside, that is to the spinal cord, is foramen of magnidae. Next, cell bodies of neurons bringing efferent into the spinal cord are located in gray matter of spinal cord, white matter of spinal cord, dorsal root ganglia, ventral root ganglia. Cell bodies of neuron bringing efferent means for incoming information are generally present in the dorsal root ganglia. Dorsal root ganglia is the right answer. So the dorsal root ganglia contains the cell bodies of the neurons. These dorsal root ganglia consist of the sensory neurons that brings the information from the different parts of the body, that is the peripheral nervous system, to the spinal cord. To the so this if you assume that this is a spinal cord, these are the different spinal nerves. So the information from here to the spinal cord is brought by the peripheral nerves, and here the dorsal root ganglia is going to take the information and pass to the brain. Next, which of the following is not correctly matched? Rhinocephalon olfaction means sight, hypothalamus command center and it controls the homeostasis of the body, cerebellum balance of the body, and medulla oblongata. It is medulla oblongata is going temperature regulation. Medulla oblongata is going to control the different functions like sexual emotions of the body, and experiences and motivation of the body, but the frontal lobe is going to control the medulla. Is not correctly matched. Medulla is going to control the functions of sexual emotions and motivations, uh, and the frontal lobe of the body is going to control the intellectual ability. So your option medulla oblongata is not rightly matched. Next, which of the following pair is incorrect? Which of the following pair is incorrect? Parietal lobe, integrating sensory input; occipital lobe, interpretation of shape and color; frontal lobe, judgment and decision making; temporal lobe controls intellectual ability. So here temporal lobe incorrect option. So here temporal lobe, the intellectual ability is controlled by the frontal lobe. So if temporal lobe, temporary information, this is nothing but the RAM of our body. Next, 37, cerebellum of brain is connected with the contraction of voluntary muscles. Contraction of voluntary muscles. Contraction of the voluntary muscles. Coordinating and regulating muscle tone. Maintain posture orientation and equilibrium of the body. That is, so you can see that the brain functions are vomiting, emotions, sexual behavior, um, L for linguistics, E for emotions, and C for control of the body. So here cerebellum is going to control almost all the functions, uh, all the functions of muscle activity and main muscle tone, as well as the balance and posture of the body. So here these are, apart from this, these are also the functions controlled by the cerebellum. So here D option, these all three functions are controlled by the cerebellum. So here all of these options. Next, choroid plexus is a network of, so your choroid plexus are the cells that produces the cerebrospinal fluid from the ventricles of the brain. So choroid plexus is a generally a network, so of capillaries which produces the cerebrospinal fluid. So answer here is capillaries. Next, the Broca area and Wernicke center are associated with vision. Poster, already we have discussed that cerebrum, medulla and cerebrum. Memory is concerned to the the frontal brain, the or prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and prosencephalon, and this Broca area are the particular parts present in the region of the forebrain, and generally this controls the language. So when a Broca area of a person is damaged, generally he cannot able to speak. So in the case of the deaf and dumb persons, the language abilities are lacking because this Broca area is affected. Next, here they have given the four parts, that is four parts of the brain, and these four parts of the brain are, you need to label them: what is one, what is two, what is 3, and what is 4. So when you see onto these, okay, first one already you know that it is the cerebellum part. The second part is a part of a cerebrum, that is the forebrain. the, this is forebrain or cerebrum. The first one is cerebellum of of midbrain. The third one is pons varoli, pons varoli. The fourth region we are seeing here is the medulla region or medulla oblongata, medulla oblongata. So one is cerebellum, two is cerebrum, three is pons varoli, four is medulla. So from the given options, from the given options, so C option is the right answer. C option is the right answer. Option C. Next, thermoregulatory center of the brain of man is already we have discussed that temperature or homeostasis is gained by the hypothalamus of the body. So here option C. Next, option option C. Next, cerebral hemisphere of mammals consists of outer gray matter and central white matter, outer matter and central gray matter and white matter intermingle gray matter. So the cerebral hemisphere, because of the cerebral hemisphere is almost gray in color, our brain looks almost ash in color, and the spinal cord, because of the white matter present outside, the spinal cord looks white in color. So here the outer gray matter and central white matter is present in the cerebral hemisphere. That is the reason our brain looks ash color instead of white, because outer gray matter is prominent. So 43rd question, you see, when you see onto the 43rd question, when you see onto the 43rd question, 43rd question, in the 43rd question, here a diagrammatic representation of the brain is given, and which is going to control the breathing part. So here, which labeled part of the given diagram controls the process of breathing? So here A, B, C, D is given. A is already you know that is the medulla oblongata. B is the temporal occipital frontal parietal occipital temporal. So and C already you know that continues as brain stem. So here from the given diagrammatic representations, from the given diagrammatic representations, 43 shows that is the medulla oblongata, medulla oblongata, medulla oblongata, that is part C, medulla oblongata, and A, that is going to control the breathing pattern of the human beings. So option C answer is also C. Is C labeling is going to control the breathing in the is going to control the breathing, control the breathing. Next, 44th question. After cutting through the dorsal root of spinal nerve of a mammal, an associated receptor of in the skin were stimulated. The animal would, after cutting through the dorsal root of spinal nerve of a mammal, an associated receptor in the skin were stimulated. The animal would, obviously, because the dorsal root ganglion is going to support the information to the brain. Where the dorsal root ganglion itself is cut, the skin will not show any type of, in spite of stimulation, they will not show any response. Option B is the answer for this question, because of response is not shown. Next, here match column 1 with the column 2 and select the correct option. So corpora striata. Corpora striata is a part of a cerebrum, and anterior choroid plexus are present in the roof of the diocele in the forebrain, and arbora vitae is a branching structure of white matter. Broca area is present in the frontal lobe, which is responsible for the language skills. So uh, by doing this option, by mm, combining these options, A is 4, D is 3, and A is 4, and anterior choroid plexus B is 1. So you can check that when A is 4, so A is 4 at only one position, and B is 1 roof of diocele, and C is arbora vitae branching to. So when you check the options, either B or D will be looking, but here the confirmation for this is by present in the frontal lobe. So we can go with the fourth option. Fourth option. Next, here also, this is also a matching matrix type of question. In this matching matrix type of question, you can see that again cerebrum is called as the seat, is called as a cerebrum is called as a seat of seat of intelligence. Cerebellum is going to cerebrum is called as a seat of intelligence. Cerebellum is going to maintain the body posture. Hypothalamus is going to control the pituitary gland. Midbrain controls the control vision and hearing. So here, based on this option, A is yes, A is yes. So B and C, D option. Cerebellum, it is called as a maintains the body posture. So B is T, B is T, and hypothalamus controls the. So A C is equal to P. Okay, so with that we can go with the option D option. D option is the right option. Answer. The answer D is the right answer. Next, brain depends on the blood for the supply of oxygen and ATP, oxygen and electrolytes, oxygen and glucose, and ATP. You know that 20 percentage of the body breathing oxygen is used by the brain. The body weight of the the weight of the brain in the human body is 1 to 2 percentage, and it is also you going to utilize approximately percentage of the glucose bar. So here the most brain depends on the blood for the especially for oxygen and glucose. Option C is the right answer for 47 question. Next, next 48 question. So already we have discussed this question. If Broca area is injured, then what happened? Firstly, so the already we have discussed that Broca area and Vernix area, if they are damaged, the person language abilities are destroyed, and he will be unable to speak. So option C. Next question. So 49th question. It is not a part of limbic lobe or limbic system. So amygdala hippocampus belongs to the limbic lobe, and here the cerebellum belongs to the medulla. Cerebellum belongs to the midbrain. So it is not part of a limbic system. So here cerebellum is not a part of limbic system. C is the option for this question. Next, the space present between the arachnoidal membrane and pia mater is called as. So Duramater, arachnoidal membrane, and pia mater is the membranes of the brain in the from the outer side to the outer side to the inner side. And they are asking the question that the space present between the arachnoidal membrane and pia mater is called, so this space is called, obviously it can be either called as a between means word for between is sub, and it is immediate to the arachnoidal membrane. So there is a term, it can be called as subarachnoidal pia mater space, but generally most of the times it can be used as a subarachnoidal space or between the arachnoid and pia mater. So biologically it is determined as subarachnoidal subarachnoidal space, subarachnoidal space. Next, the respiratory and cardiac center are located in heartbeat is maintained by the medulla oblongata. So the respiratory and rhythmatic control, already we have discussed that it is present in the uh, D option, that is medulla oblongata is going to control these functions for the 51st question. Next, cerebrospinal fluid is present. Cerebrospinal fluid is present beneath the pia mater, between pia mater and arachnoidal matter, between arachnoid and dura mater, between dura mater and cranium. So the cerebrospinal fluid flows between the arachnoidal membrane and pia mater. Already we know that. So we can go with the option B. Option B. So here between it is present between the pia mater and arachnoidal membrane, and this is responsible for the nutrition, supplying of nutrition to the spinal vertebra or spinal nerve. Next, through which aperture the spinal cord passes out of the skull. Foramen of Monroe, foramen of Peninsula, foramen of Magnum, and none of these. So here, what is a foramen Monroe? Channels that connects the channels that connects the paired lateral ventricles is called as foramen of magnum and foramen Monroe. Already we have discussed that foramen Monroe is a connection between the four different ventricles to that. And here when you talk about the foramen of Peninsula, that is the hole that connects the left and right aorta. So foramen Monroe, brain, foramen magnum, channel, the that connects the paired lateral ventricles and for spinal the foramen Monroe is the channel that connects the paired lateral ventricles and foramen magnum is the aperture that connects the spinal cord that passes from the foramen magnum where the spinal cord passes out of the skull and enters into the spinal cord. And coming to the foramen of Peninsula is the hole that connects the left and right aorta in the heart. So here answer C, foramen magnum, that is the aperture or hole where the spinal cord passes out of the skull. Next, which of the following statements are correct? Gray matter contains modulated nerve fibers. Gray matter appears green in color. Gray matter contains cell bodies. Only one, only two, only one, two, three, and only two and three. So here the gray matter appears green color. That is right. Gray matter contains cell bodies, and because of that only it looks almost ash in color. Gray matter contains modulated nerve fibers, so it contains cell bodies only, and that is the reason. So here option D option is the right option for the 54th question. D. Next, in the diagram of TS of the spinal cord, given central parts have been indicated by alphabets. Choose the answer in which these alphabets have been correctly matched with the parts which they indicate. So this is the diagrammatic representation which is showing the spinal cord with a dorsal horn, ventral horn, a pia mater, foramen magnum, and dorsal root ganglion, ventral root ganglion, and so on. So here we need to find out the by selecting these options. You need to select the option is A here. What is A? What is B? What is C? What is D? What is E? So here A is a dorsal septum, and you can see that B is the dorsal horn, which gives a H shape appearance or a butterfly shape appearance, and C is the gray matter. C is the gray matter. D is the central cavity. E is the white matter. F is the ventral horn. G is the ventral root, H is the dorsal root and ganglion. So here B option. This is the right answer. A. So here 56th question. A touch on the right hand neurons in. Obviously, we know that when whoever are left-handed, the right part of the cerebral hemisphere is active, and whenever the right part of the body is controlled by the left part is controlling the right portion, and the right portion will be controlling the left. So left-handers, the right portion is more active, in the right handers left portion is more active. So a touch in the on the right hand stimulates nerves in the obviously the left somatic sensory area or left portion of the brain. Option A is the right answer. Next, select the incorrect option regarding the given figure. So here you are seeing the PQR. P is almost the frontal lobe. Q is the uh, portion on the back near to the mesencephalon or the midbrain. R is the portion at the roof of the base. So here from these the incorrect option to be selected. Q is the parietal lobe, which is perceptions. So it is right parietal lobe itself, and P is the occipital lobe, which decodes the and interprets the information. So here 57 P is the it is P is generally present on the front side. So this P is a frontal lobe. P is a frontal lobe. So it is the generally the option which is wrongly matched is incorrect option is P. It is not parietal lobe, it is the frontal lobe. So B option B is the right answer. Next, clogging of magnetoforamen will prevent the flow of cerebrospinal fluid from fourth ventricle to. So obviously, foramen magnete or magnete of foramen is connecting the fourth ventricle to the spinal cord through the brain, out of the brain, so it is outside of the brain. D option. The correct sequence of meninges from the inner to outer side is dura mater or conchoidal membrane, inner to outer side. So it is already we have discussed that you need to remember DAP. This is from the outer to inner. So when you they are asking, so inner to outer pia mater or conchoidal membrane to diameter. So many as because of anxiety they have done this answer wrong, but don't be confused. You can write this code, and so based on that answer will be pia mater or conchoidal membrane and dura mater. Next question, peripheral nervous system. So here movement of shoulder muscle of bones is controlled by movement of shoulder muscle and bone is controlled by which nerve? So spinal nerve, it controls 1/3 of the tongue, and glossopharyngeal nerve, which is ninth nerve, it controls the tongue, movements of tongue and sensory, and vagus nerve controls the heartbeat, and shoulder, neck, and vocal region will be controlled by the spinal accessory nerve of the body. So spinal accessory nerve is going to control the muscle and bone of the shoulder and neck. A option for 68th question. Next, the two additional cranial nerves present in mammals are pharyngeal and vagus, spinal accessory and hypoglossal, trigeminal and glossopharyngeal, hypophagocytal and sciatic. So here we can see that spinal accessory and hypoglossal nerve that is going to control the mammals in the human body. Next, coming on to the injury to vagus nerve in humans is not likely to affect because sensory is going to so your vagus nerve, heartbeat, respiration up from this portion to this portion, from this portion to this portion is affected. Tongue is controlled by more than two nerves, so generally obviously tongue movements are not controlled by the only some part is controlled one by the hypophageal nerve. So your tongue movements are not affected if vagus nerve is affected. Next, each spinal nerve in mammal arises from the spinal cord by two roots, a dorsal and ventral. One of the ventral root is composed of, obviously, it is composed of the somatic motor and visceral motor fibers. Option A. Next, the sympathetic nervous system works through the secretions of sympathetic nervous system is going to be controlled by the norepinephrine or noradrenaline. So option A, noradrenaline or norepinephrine is going to control that. So thank you for the day. The remaining questions you try to do by yourself, and we'll meet again in the next class.